Did you really think I was going to show you how I speak? No way. But no worries, we have an interpreter voicing over and subtitles for you, hearing people. No need to panic. To start, I would like to clarify something. I like to speak. I enjoy doing so, but I don't do it with any hearing person. There are some hearing people with whom I use my voice, and others with whom I decide not to. You might wonder what the reasoning for this difference is. Let me tell you. There are several reasons that make me comfortable to use my voice with hearing people. For example, the hearing people I speak to can sign fluently. They are aware of the struggle of deaf communities. They are conscious of the lower social status of sign languages. They are mindful of the audism and fonocentrism present in society, giving dominance to speech and consequently underestimating the value of signed and written communication. On top of that, these hearing people fully accept the way I choose to communicate, regardless of it being through sign, voice, or a combination of both. They would always respond by signing, demonstrating their respect and acceptance. That is what encourages me to open up in an intimate way and show my voice. But, dear hearing people, what about the rest of you? The ones I deliberately decide not to use my voice with? My reasoning for that is simple. You're not aware of your own hearing privilege. You disregard the impact of audism. You have deeply internalized phonocentric beliefs. So when I use my voice with you, I must face how you look down on me. My voice sounds strange to you, and your awkward reactions discomfort me. You tend to associate speech with identity. Your voice is what portrays your personality. Therefore, when you hear mine sounding different, you tend to think something is wrong with me. I am not a complete human to you. You're ignorant about the deaf community, about our own culture, our constant fight and struggle, and our campaigns for sign language recognition, just to name a few. That lack of knowledge is fine with me, but when I first encounter a hearing person and I use my voice, it might happen that we do not manage to understand each other. Then I will ask you to write down. If you refuse and insist on an oral method, it is painful. It gives me no option to continue the conversation. That is a common problem. To illustrate it, I am going to share a live example. 10 years ago, I started saving money to buy a bike. It was quite expensive, 800 euros. When I finally bought it, I was really happy. After a little while, my bike was stolen. That happens a lot in Berlin. I was quite upset. Luckily, it was covered by insurance, so if I reported the case, I would be eligible to get a refund. I was affected by the situation, but decided to visit the nearest police station and start the procedure. 10 years ago, I was not that conscious of how my language choices could influence a successful interaction, so I approached the officer talking to explain the situation. When the officer responded, I couldn't understand their speech, so I kindly asked to slow down. They continued talking in the same manner. I could only see lips and teeth moving, not understanding a word. I suggested to write down as an alternative solution, but the officer kept talking. As a deaf person, I started to feel annoyed. My frustration was on the rise. I changed my strategy and started writing myself. The officer continued talking to me. I insisted, pointing to the piece of paper, but they just kept talking. I wrote, "I am not using my voice anymore. I can't understand you. Please write down." Pointing to my note persistently, even the desk was shaking, but the officer kept talking. I couldn't believe how a professional, used to meeting people on a regular basis, was making no effort for a deaf person to understand them. I kindly asked to write down again. I could see their uneasiness. I argued that a police officer should treat all citizens equally and insisted on communicating through writing. I was really angry. Finally, they accepted my request and started to write down. That process took all my energy. We had wasted 30 minutes in the discussion. This experience was one of many, but it really hit me, as it made me realize that using my voice does not always bring positive outcomes. The attitude of that officer was awful. They should be used to meeting diverse people and be ready to adjust, which wasn't my case. They should know better. That experience showed me that it would have been better to start the conversation without speaking, directly asking for pen and paper, as that would have forced them to adjust. This story is not unique. We have plenty. There are 7 million deaf people in the world. If you ask around, all of them have similar experiences. You wouldn't want to find yourself being one of those rude hearing individuals, would you? I'm sure you would rather prefer to change your mind, reflect upon your own bias, and do better. My workshop is a great space for that. I will be really happy to have you. In case you want more information, find it here